No, I get it. There has to be a time where we all just admit that, like, you can have different preferences. I know that's weird, but, like, guys, it happens. Different personal opinions are allowed. What exactly is your role in Korea? I am instrumental in developing relations between North Korean and South Korean StarCraft 2 players, and I'm nothing. What do you mean? What is my role in Korea? I go there because I like it, and because there's a major tournament where a lot of my friends are gonna be. Thank you very much, Juvia Loxer. It's always nice to hear. Read good words. Let's do the introductions for at least this first game. The top left has the blue Zerg. It is Kyuubi. The bottom right has the red Protoss. She is Scarlett. All right, so this would want to say this is gonna be a close match, but probably won't be. Scarlett might be initially a bit surprised by her opponent's skill level, tenacity, what have you, but is at the end of the day still going to be 1,000 MMR above her opponents. Kyuubi, having not gotten Grandmaster on Europe, which is pretty high up there. It's like 5,800 or something, I think is the European Grandmaster cutoff. You know, for America, it's like 5,300 a lot of the time. Pretty big difference. And I don't think Kyuubi has gotten close to that. I mean, she's had pretty high MMR, but when you can see that Scarlett's up there, it's like 6.5. It's still like a crazy big difference. And if you think I'm just talking about her Zerg, no, like she's taken the top spot on the NA ladder as her Protoss, so it's pretty good. But there is a chance that Kyuubi does an aggressive maneuver that Scarlett's not expecting to be, you know, that powerful or that well timed. It's possible that her attacks that were really tripping up the previous opponents don't do as much because Kyuubi actually has faced someone who has done a similar attack at a decent time. Like, it's going to be a little bit different, but we are still expecting Scarlett to take the 3-0. Won't be as fast of a series as I was predicting. It's not the fastest Banshee tournament ever, but if it was a ZVZ, I think it would have been. Adept's coming forward here, gonna chase away the links from the probe and even try and get one, but Kyuubi pretty quick. Yeah, oh, still loses one. Rip. Going for the Overlord speed. There might be a case here where Kyuubi, I mean, I think Kyuubi will eventually have to just admit that she's gonna have to cut corners. She's gonna have to either be super macro or super aggressive to combat Scarlett. Right now, she actually might be thinking less about the difference in skill and more about just how Scarlett would play. Scarlett is rather aggressive. She's got some weird builds as Zerg. She's got aggressive builds as Zerg. Both. Either or. And it's not too much different when she plays Protoss. Like, she does... she Protosses Protoss, man. Like, she sometimes even revels in it. So, to be a little afraid of what is coming out of two bases is not uncalled for. It just might be something that Kyuubi doesn't really actually have the resources to use. I say it as if 100 for Overlord speed is like, you know, the worst, most expensive thing in the world, but it is something to consider. Sport colors are being put down and are on time. Queens initially forced the Oracle away. A couple of Adepts coming forward here alongside another Oracle, and yet another Oracle is being made. And there's a second gateway to finish the wall at the front. What is the follow-up going to be? We have both gases already taken. So not going to be anything too surprising like gateway, entirely gateway based, but the Overlord will 100% confirm that with its speed. No Phoenix on the way yet to try and even get that thing away. Ooh, that Oracle actually almost died. My bad. I thought it was fine. 3 drones went down for its near-death experience, but as long as it's alive. The Lord Oracle is out and about now as well. I thought there was a Ling there. Well, it got pulled back. I had one. Adept is not going to be able to get too many extra drones, so if Lord's still scouting everything that's going down, we'll see the third base if it just moved a little bit north. But that should be the expectation, followed up with the Robo, Forge, Twilight Council, a Macrogram, right? Oracle, Jesus, almost dies right there as well. Whew. Scarlett playing quite aggressive with those Oracles. Now going into a Warp Prism. What exactly is it going to be for? She doesn't actually have that many gateways, like in general. Her gate production is rather low. She could warp in 2 Adepts twice and I guess do some damage. Kind of an oddly timed Warp Prism, right? Now Scarlett seriously is no joke against Protoss, but I do wonder if maybe she has some unorthodox builds that even like the Protoss pros would be like, okay, that's a little weird. Oh, Oracle finally dies. This one's still alive though. Would love to go back in for a stasis trap perhaps. We'll see if that's the plan. It is. That's the plan, man. It's gonna be seen though. Nice reaction by Kyuubi, who is so far keeping up with her opponents, going into a lot of roaches. Kyuubi was showing us a lot of roach all-ins versus P7 Gab, the Protoss who took her closest to the edge of death in previous tournaments. This one not being found. Oh, that's a lot of drones. Kind of stacked up right there. Nice little stasis trap. Warp Prism was indeed just for the 2 Adepts, not even 4. So that's I mean, it's gonna be really annoying. Kyuubi's not gonna have anything to deal with it. It just was surprising to see so quickly. Overseer gets back into the main and natural to see what exactly is following this up. Double Robo Immortal. Is it a Colossus build? Or is it probably, what, 70% of the games, which is Archon Immortal Charge? It's that. It's that one. Scarlett rounding out her production. Getting the upgrades and still continuing to harass. But you know what Oracles aren't doing when they're on the edges of the bases? They aren't scouting the army movement, and Kyuubi actually has quite a bit of army. Scarlett forced to use the force field to retreat, but actually missing the first few, finally getting the last one down to cut off that little choke there. But that might be the panic move I was talking about, right? The like, oh shit, like she actually has stuff. I'm not just totally like killing her here with 2 Adepts. Nope, not at all. Kyuubi was building a sizable roach army, and this is without upgrades. And she is not going totally all in with it, but if this does not work, she is going to be at a disadvantage. She'll be up against +1, she'll be up against eventually Storm, a growing number of Immortals, so her roaches get less and less good, and she actually decides not to even push in there, which I think is a bit of a mistake. Scarlett wasn't quite ready to go, structures aren't quite done, sentries were a little lower in energy because of that panicked move, but decides not to push in for it. And that might be a missed opportunity because, yeah, Kyuubi actually did sacrifice some pretty important follow-up things to do this. And now, yeah, the best follow-up is probably going to be Aspire, something that doesn't rely on having upgrades or catching up in upgrades. But she's going to make sure, she's going to try to make sure the Oracles never see that. Revelation got a little close to it, but not quite. Warp Prism is being pushed off in the main base, and it's possible the Spire is a surprise. But it's also possible that Scarlett's going to be ready to push by the time the Spire is actually done and ready to go with 10 mutas. We'll see. Scarlett does have that 150 supply that you usually feel a lot safer on. Is also going up to a 4th base. Has yet to start Storm, so right now just working on Archons. She might have forgotten Storm. I think she got Storm. Well, that's going to be a bummer when she moves forward to kill units and there is nothing to shoot out. She also is not hitting that timing I was thinking of that would hit just before Spire's done. Or is she? Did I talk too soon? I perhaps did. Maybe? I don't know. 2 hallucinations going out. Blah, blah, blah. Zealots being lined up on the bottom side as well. She is setting up for scouting and some harassment, but the creep spread actually saw the Zealots. The army's responding before Scarlett's out in the middle of the map, and her army even getting split here. What are these High Templars doing? They don't have Storm, and they're just like going off in the middle of nowhere. What is this? I'm like triple, quadruple checking she doesn't have Storm. This is a straight up mistake, y'all. Thank you, Heartworm, for the 100 bits. My last bits for the Banshee tournament. Zealots in the main base doing some damage here. The Warp Prism never had anything to clean it up. Queen's got close to it, I guess, but not really. 9 drones die. Mutas are not made. Oh, she didn't make mutas. She had a decent bank, but she just made a bunch of roaches and ravagers, expecting to attack up the middle, I suppose. And she wouldn't be wrong about it. It didn't actually happen. So this could have been an opportunity to go for 10 meters and send them across the map, and now she's going to combat the army, actually finding it very awkwardly spread out, and there's still no storm! Scarlett's going to think she has a bunch of storms and nothing's going to happen! This is going to be so comical! I mean, she could still win, I guess, depending on the force fields. You know, Immortals and Archons are pretty good, but come on, try and storm something! Come on! I have to reserve my storms, and the energy needs to be super high. I shouldn't just be throwing them down willy-nilly. Well, you're not gonna have any. It's not happening. Have you noticed? Have you noticed? Have you noticed? Nope. 6 drones go down to the main base. The Zealot harassment continues. Scarlett is on 4 bases, so... Oh my god, she finally remembered the storm. It happened, it happened. I don't know when she... What made her realize she didn't have it, but thankfully she realized. Roach is trying to attack into that 3rd base, but that stack defense has been there from the first threatening of the Roaches. But they also trying to draw the army out of position. It's just that, you know, Kyuubi does not have... It's just not a good army. Storms aside, even if there weren't any storms, Scarlett is maxed out with Archon Immortal Charge Lot. Roaches and Ravagers that didn't even have +1 attack. I mean... wasn't really gonna do very much, and Kyuubi's not advancing forward either into additional tech here. She's on 4 bases, and that's comfortable to remax a Roach Ravager army on, but it's certainly not comfortable to go up into a Greater Spire. Well, it would be, rather, if she actually had the technology. But she doesn't! Army is split here for Scarlett, but now that she's got Storm in 3 seconds, it should be a good split. So many of her charge. Let's go over to the top side, getting that kill on that growing base. There come the Storms. Now the Force Fields go down as well. So do the Protoss Biles, however, catching a lot of those High Templar. Only 1 storm remains, so the Zealots coming from the backside have just massacred the Ravagers, and the Immortals, unfortunately, were not touched up enough to truly be threatened, and that is going to be a bit of a sandwich for the win. Mutas showed himself into a bunch of cannons, so those didn't work out, and that is GG. Well played. Getting the storm's a little funny, but as someone correctly points out, it is 5 in the morning at this point in Korea. It's just especially funny because she had so many High Templars waiting for that storm. But Kyuubi, I feel like Kyuubi did have a decent chance there if she had just actually gone full on into Roaches when she found those Immortals and Sentries. Not saying she would have won, but I feel like she could have danced around that 3rd quite a bit and hoped to make more mistakes, force more mistakes. But maybe the Warp Prism was constantly on her mind. She didn't really want to really commit. But if that's the case, then you can't just stick on, you know, an army that's good at 7, 8 minutes. It is terrible at 12 minutes. If you're going to choose to be defensive, you're going to have to go up into the Infestors, Swarm Host maybe, but Infestors and Brood Lords and more Infestors. This is so high level. Scarlett just debated both players. Me and you? King's Cove's the next map. I can't really even think of what Kyuubi's thinking, how she's gonna beat Scarlett here. Like I said, there was a decent like attack with the Roaches. But maybe it was one of those things that would only work because Scarlett wasn't expecting it, but now that she's like, oh, I have to be aware of that. Now she might just never have that opportunity again. Okay. King's Cove, a great map for a macro game. You get your 3 bases, nice and easy. 4th, not too difficult. And then as a plus, especially for Zerg with the creep spread, the concave you can get with your creep spread defensively is just so good against Protoss pushes. So that's what I would think. You know, as you go into King's Cove, that's why Kyuubi chose it. But then Kyuubi has not shown herself to be a super late game player. She has played a late game against Protoss. But even as she accepted and drove the game that way, it was, you know, her choice. She still ended up getting beat by the Protoss player. I think twice in the late game versus P7 Gab. Or if she didn't win twice, it was just, she didn't lose twice. She definitely lost once, and the other one might have been like just a really, really close game that she barely was able to scrape by on. So there might be a hesitancy to go to the late game just because of your past experiences. But you know what? Scarlett doesn't care about your late game. She is getting a gateway and then a forge. So a little bit of cheese coming out from Scarlett. I brought this up with the Overlord speed last game. It's not unexpected to see Scarlett cheese here. And not just because, you know, like, oh, I'll beat this person no matter what, anytime, anywhere, blah, blah, blah. But also because she would do this against ZombieGrub, against Sue, against whoever else, because she does. She actually, I think really, if it wasn't for her like insane mechanics and her seemingly like born ability to, she's born with the ability to have like a metronome for creep spread. I really think that Protoss actually would have been her jam. And now it's just her second jam. It's her jelly. Nice little trick there in case Kyuubi had seen this coming and tried to pull the drones, but it actually ended up being unnecessary. Cannon's gonna come up no matter what. Kyuubi was scouting this so damn late. Second Overlord did not stay back at home to scout the potential of this, and this first Overlord was only now seeing that it's a forge. So this is bad news. The hatchery and the natural will be killed. Third base is gonna go up here, and Kyuubi has a second drone to scout if the probe had gone over there to build more cannons. And the hatchery going down there, and then more importantly, cannons up to defend Scarlett's building. That robo, that's when things get really complicated, all right? Like the cannons, if it's just that and throw a Nexus down at home, I think Zerg players are like, you know, that sucks, but maybe I can make this work. They start building that robo, getting that warp prism, and then you're in a whole heck of a lot of trouble. Now this cannon is going to go down. Nice high ground advantage there for the queen, but the warp prism will eventually come out, and that'll be the next big problem. Shield batteries will eventually be placed at that natural. No opportunity for the queen to pop out from the natural, even try to spread that creep, and this one is trying to. It also has to avoid the immortal, so that creep is receding faster than ever before. Used to recede a lot slower. Used to spread a lot slower too, though. I think I had a nightmare once, because we were talking about that recently, about how the creep change happened, and I had a nightmare that night about creep never disappearing. Anyways, Stalker holding the position of the natural, also a cannon and a shield battery just in cases, but here are the more shield batteries. Here's more and more and more. Actually, that might be another cannon. That is another cannon. The point is, Kyuubi's not getting in through there. Warp Prism's out, and we're going to see Scarlett's micro. But remember that both of them are at a pig disadvantage. They both are not feeling so hot about being on US East. Well, apparently it's not that big of a difference for Scarlett between East and Central. And that might make these immortals die a premature death. But we'll see. Still a nasty attack to do. So far, so good for Kyuubi. Gotten all these Ravagers set up here, almost taking out the immortal. Saving the Ravagers with good pullbacks. And taking out shield batteries when she can. This other base will provide a little bit of mining that you don't usually have. Creep timber needs to be placed in the back to actually finish, unfortunately. Scarlett is looking to expand, actually, behind this. Not just continue going for more immortals and gateways. Roach is getting taken out before they can turn into Ravagers. Actually being one-shot by 3 Immortals. Good God. Shield batteries affecting that one really weak Immortal. Oh, that is such a weak Immortal, but the shield battery's juicing it up. Juice, juice, juice. 2 Ravagers died with that, and the Roaches that have just been made to turn into more Ravagers. This is starting to look scary as Scarlett actually still planning on going for a Nexus. Just has such a strong, strong Immortal force. Spawning pool could go down. They're not necessarily making that many Lings. Sometimes they can help out, you know, trap the Immortals when they get a little too far forward, force the Warp Prism to get in range of the Queens in a very perfect scenario. Not really using them. But that spawning pool means that there's also no more Queen production, which, you know, if you can get up to like 5 Queens, suddenly that Warp Prism's not so bold about microing. At 3, it's still okay. Roaches and Ravagers and even some Lings coming in from both sides now. But the Warp Prisms are still juiced up. There's the cannons, the shield batteries. There we go. And a cannon is available. These Immortals might be low, but they're not quite dying. Queens are going to have to walk their fat butts down. Oh, shit! That Corrosive Bow just killed 2 Immortals, but a 4th one popped out in the nick of time, and that might still be enough. Shield battery still with juice. And the Ravager count getting lower and lower. I'm afraid this bust hasn't quite worked as close as it got. The Queens are going to go down now, even with their transfuses. They have so far to go before they get back on creep. Luckily, they do not take any extra damage at all from the Immortals, so it takes quite a few Immortal punches. But there goes the first one. Second one's going to go down as well. Third one, very weak. But target firing the Ravagers now, they're in position once again. The Ravagers go down. The Roach is super easy as well. The Ravagers that usually make or break the defense, and I don't think they're breaking it here. They're not doing it. GG. Good attempt. Good attempt. A strong initial hold, especially when you consider that Kyuubi was truly, thoroughly surprised by that cannon rush. The potential last map is going to be Kairos. GG. Look at that pretty kitty. I'm gonna poke the kitty. Pokey. He's so handsome. My friend has a puggle that, like, every time he does something cute, she'll be like, "Who's a handsome boy?" And I'm like, definitely not the puggle. Definitely not. But, you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and so is handsomeness and all that good stuff, so. She loves her dog, and compare her to her. That's a canceled drone right there. Kyuubi just going, fuck it. Going for the 12th pool here, hoping to catch Scarlett off guard. But you know what? Scarlett does a lot to other Protoss players when she's Zerg. Yeah, she does aggressive things to them, which should put her in a bit better of a position to defend. It's kind of how it works. If you are bad at something, it is usually beneficial to do that something If you're bad against Zerg and you're a Terran, play some ZVT, get the feeling on the other side. If you're bad against cheese, then do the thing against the person, right? Whatever. If you're afraid of commitment, be the most committed guy out there. If you're afraid of heights, go up to the top floor. I mean, whatever. Become the thing. But in this case, yeah, Scarlett's gonna know what to identify. She's gonna know what breaks the attack as the Protoss player. And luckily, she does also have the knowledge as a Protoss player, because it's not as simple as just suddenly picking up a race and being good against the thing, right? But she also actually has all this experience as a Protoss player to defend, which she will, I'm sure she'll defend rather nicely. She's not taking it too seriously right now. She sees the intention to take a hatchery. She knows there will be lings. But unless you're expecting a lot more coming out here, you don't want to really open up with that 2 gateway opener. That in a way is damage. You can get away with just going for the normal build, but getting a zealot as well. Then you should be good. You play standing up as well. Not 1v1 ladder. Other games and co-op, yeah. Gonna have to play with fire for a little bit here. The dance. Oh, it's happening. The tango. I was gonna start humming a tango song, but I actually don't know any. Ha-da-da, ha-da-da, ha-da-da. Could also choose to try and get a second zealot. Usually times out kind of awkwardly though with the Cybernetic score. Shield battery could also be placed down, but not in time to kill the gateway. And did Scarlett underestimate this? She's gonna pull the probes, but it's not gonna be good enough. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs! No more lings are on the way, and a zealot and probe pool will eventually take care of this, hopefully. There's the more probes being pulled. Said Scarlett take care of this, but I guess I was wrong. The zealot goes down. So many probes will lose their lives. 4 probes, the 5th one dangerously close to death, would be an okay grab there, plus the gateway, plus taking the zealot out of the equation. Kyuubi though. Okay, so here's the thing, is that Scarlett might be thinking, you know what, I lost 4 probes and a heck of a lot of lost mining time, but I'll have the better macro. I'll probably win this game. Not if Kyuubi Baneling busts. Uh-oh. I actually really like this plan from Kyuubi. This plan is going to be excellent. Scarlett's Robo is just now being thrown down alongside a second gateway on the front lines, but nothing to really prepare against the Baneling bust. I guess the good news is... Well, actually, I don't think that's a wall if that's busted. Not sure. But, Ooh, the Adept did not see the Lings, did it? The Lings had just been moved over to the left side. This won't be with speed, but it will be with Banelings. Can Scarlett hold? 6 Banelings are being made right now alongside a sentry, but Ling's already coming in. Probably gonna be looking for the pylon if they could, but no, it's actually a little protected by the gateways. So going after the Cybernetic score, stopping any full wall from coming out here. Stalker is gonna be rather useless against that many Banelings, and you know what? Kyuubi doesn't even need the Banelings. Just a Ling attack is gonna kill Scarlett as his depth comes back to help out. The Banelings are looking for the probe line, and they're gonna get it. Get it. 20 probes go down, but you know what? That isn't quite enough. The sentry finally pops out. All the Lings have been expended. Those Lings probably should have just been used, or Banelings, sorry, should have probably just been used as Lings to help kill the army. Can't Scarlett actually hold against this? One Baneling not killing the probes. Just getting them awfully low. Scarlett on 2 bases to 2, 15 workers to 16, and now with enough defenses to hold against a follow-up. Kyuubi, so close to getting the tap out there, it felt like, but not actually receiving it. Might now be in the worst position. Another Banelings being morphed here. A couple Banelings being morphed. I'm not exactly sure why. It's like 6 to kill Pylon? And then a heck of a lot more to kill gateways and stuff. Overlord gets to see everything that's going on here. Now, unfortunately, going to be killed as it sees the Warp Prism. Kyuubi, I guess, just looking to bust whatever is holding the line, if anything is. And then going for basically a counter to buy time against the Warp Prism attack, but... Now she won't be able to see that the army's not coming with the Warp Prism. It's just the Warp Prism going across the map. 3 Adepts in tow. Kyuubi doesn't have any defenses back at home. She will be taking drone losses here. Sentries will be excellent against this attack. And this might be it. Kyuubi goes down, but that's not necessarily a problem. War Prism does come home, but decides, you know what, I don't have to. And she doesn't. She can just go kill a bunch of drones. I hear Stalker. There it is. Stalker taking rid of the Overlord. I guess it was zipping to see how many gateways were being put down, but actually none so far. Scarlett could not afford that many, having to rebuild as many probes as she had to. War Prism up against one queen is safe to dip back in to get the Adepts. It actually... Oh, okay, I see what happened. I thought she was being indecisive, but she was. It was for a reason. She was thinking she could get out with the Adepts over here, and she was correct. This one Adept barely alive, but still alive. And the War Prism taking a lot of hull damage is still alive. Lair is on the way. 3 extra gas is being thrown down. Scarlett is seeing the lack of third base, or will confirm it in just a second here. This one only just being put down. Should be raising alarm bells. Kyuubi has cut her drone production for a while, so she was down in drones. I think she's back up to it now. Lucine Phoenix is going to be able to scout the lair. It is for a Hydralisk Den. Maybe a Lurker Den. Trying to figure things out here. Kyuubi, I think, is kind of flying by the seat of her pants. No, it is going to be for Hydras. Hydras with range, especially, are pretty good at dealing with big, like, robo attacks. Like, if you can actually get there. The problem is that you usually don't have the opportunity, right? Like, you have to get Roaches, you have to get Ravagers, and we all know how that looks like for the multiple GSLs that had a bunch of 2-base all-ins. But Hydras with range are very good. They reach over those force fields. They don't take extra damage versus the Immortals. They're light, you know, they're light, fluffy Hydras, and hopefully they have something protecting them. Lings, Queens, Roaches. But, you know, I keep saying that range. Range. They actually have speed on the way, which helps you position a little bit. Maybe you can try and force out force fields, but defensively, this is usually not what you want. So Kyuubi might have been thinking about doing an attack, thinking that Scarlett wasn't going to do an attack herself. You know, she didn't see any gateways last time she checked, but she was unfortunately wrong. Scarlett was just getting up to a decent probe count and then banking those minerals. Very recently threw down 6 extra gateways. That is too big of a Protoss army, regardless of the range versus speed thing. Also, Stalker's being added in. War Prism is very bold, gets instantly targeted down, but it does not matter. GG. Scarlett does take the 3-0, although it looked really scary for a second there. I liked Kyuubi's aggressive maneuvers.